Reddit. What's the funniest thing that a random stranger said to you that made you die laughing inside? Watched a guy walking to class at my college years ago saying, "Get the duck out of my way," to a pigeon standing in his path. The pigeon quickly waddled off to the side. This happened to me, but in reverse. I was walking my dogs in a park that is always full of those damn Canadian geese. Two were in the path and would not move, and my dogs were freaking, trying to chase them. They wouldn't move, so we chased them from the path. I turned and said out loud to them, "Yeah, that's right. I told you to move," or something sassy like that, and realized there was a couple behind me, watching a grown woman and her dogs chase geese and then verbally abuse them. Laughed it to all the glorious comments below. I only chase these guys at the park with my dogs. Last month, they migrated off of the park and started roaming in my neighborhood. I'm not sassy when there are 15 geese standing on the road outside of my house. Watching, waiting, plotting. When I was around 10, my dad took my brother and me to a Sox game at Fenway. We get to the park, and I was putting mustard on a hot dog from one of those mustard box push down nozzle things. This random guy next to me goes, "Yeah buddy, lather that guy up." 10-year-old me thought it was about the funniest thing I'd ever heard, and I still chuckle when I think about it as an adult. I love random hype guys. Always turns out to be a fun story, as long as the guy isn't totally insane. I was at a 50th wedding anniversary party and there were lots of elderly people in attendance. An old man was standing next to me and said, "It looks like a ducking graveyard in here." I literally spit my drink out. We were outdoors. The kicker was the guy was close to the same age as everyone else. I was working at Best Buy and had a customer that was 92. He asked the difference between two towers that were about $100 difference in price. I told him that for what he was going to use it for. He said ML and Facebook, that they would both work fine, and that if anything the nicer one might last a bit longer. He said, "Last longer? Man, I'm 92. I don't even buy green bananas." Funniest thing I've ever heard. Years ago when queuing up for movie tickets with my family, the attendant asked the ages of our 4 kids to see if they could all get children price tickets. I announced their ages, 7, 9, 11, and 13. Without missing a beat, the stranger behind us declared, "That's an odd group. They're leaving out next year." I was at a gas station filling my truck with gas and overheard a guy yelling at his dog to move over in the car so his wife could get in. It went like this: "Man to dog, come on, get in the middle so mommy can get in." Dog starts yipping back at him as if she's arguing. "Man to dog, quit arguing me. I told you to get in the middle, you don't always get your way." Dog again yipping back at him. Man to dog, "If I have to tell you again you're not getting your jerky." Holds up a stick of beef jerky. Dog yipping while reluctantly moving to the middle. Man to dog, "Okay, promise no more arguing me and you'll be a good girl." Dog yipping again. Man to dog, "Okay, seal it with a kiss." Dog gives man kiss. Crap, had me dying. Something I overheard as 2 kids walked past our caravan park site. A rumbling boom of distant thunder. Kid 1, "I like thunder. It sounds like a 200-year-old dog who's retired and helps old people who are blind to get around." Kid 2, "Silence." Kid 1, "You know." Kid 2, "But why is it retired?" Kid 1, "Because it's old." Kid 2, "But it's still helping blind people." Kid 1, "Silence." A few years ago I let my friend cut my hair. It did not go well. I was living in Philadelphia at the time and was walking through South Philly when I passed 2 strangers in the middle of the conversation. As I pass, one of them says to the other, "Hold up, I gotta talk to this guy." He proceeds to shout to me, "Ayo, your hair looks like crap. Come over here." I was amused, partially because of his bluntness and partially because he wasn't wrong. I was curious, so I walked over to him. He says, "Look, a buddy of mine owns a barber shop 2 blocks away. Here's his business card. I'll write my name on there. If you mention that I sent you, he'll give you a good deal." Bruh, but seriously, take care of that crap. I never ended up going to his friend's shop, but I frequently use this story as the perfect example of Philly culture. Rude, blunt, and in your face, yet somehow coming from a place of genuine care. Plus, it's ducking hilarious. A lot of cultures are like that. Chinese people will straight up tell you're fat, but only if they actually care. They'll be like, "Hey, you're too fat, but you'd be really pretty if you lost some weight. You should go to the gym." A Lithuanian woman I work with is cut from the same cloth. Hilariously blunt but well-meaning comments about the most personal stuff, and all somehow made funnier by the fact that she speaks without any contractions, and with a lilt that makes everything sound like a question. I started taking care of myself a couple of years back, and she noticed I'd shed a few pounds. At that point we'd barely worked together ever, maybe 5 hours, but she still felt empowered to say something, like I see that you are losing weight. That is good. I did not want to say anything but you were very fat. Now you are less fat. It is better, but still maybe lose 5 more kilo. Then you will look good, and it is healthier too. After I lost the rest of the weight she was so genuinely happy for me, it was ridiculous. Then she immediately set to work trying to improve my posture. And sometime later she said I have been told I'm rude and must not give advice because people are upset. And she doesn't now, and I actually kind of miss it. Also, while I still don't know her very well at all, I have a standing offer from her to stay at her daughter's flat in Amsterdam. Okay, the laughter was not entirely inside, but years ago on the subway in New York, a crazy dude walks on the train and screams at everyone you're all going to hell, and then steps off as the doors close. Total silence as the weirdness of the moment settles in. Then, without missing a beat, guy across from me goes, "Crap, I thought this train was going to Harlem." Entire subway car of cynical New Yorkers bursts out laughing. I'm in the bathroom at work washing my hands, and one of the professors that I don't think I've ever actually spoken to comes in and starts washing her lanyard in the sink. I try to make small talk with work people, even though I suck at it, so I try to strike up a conversation that goes down as follows. "Morning. I spilled coffee on my lanyard and now it's all sticky. Blah, that's the worst." At this point she turns off the faucet and looks at me completely deadpan with eyes that said she wanted to feed me my own innards and said, "I think genocide is worse." So I awkwardly mumbled "Ye KBA have Venus Day" and quickly escaped. It's turned into a running joke in my office now though. Anything from the printer being out of toner to a fire drill on a cold day is literally worse than genocide. I had a similar experience within my ex's father. I went to meet her parents for the very first time, and her mom was listing off what we were having for dinner, and she said blah, blah, baked macaroni and cheese. To which I replied, "Oh great. I love macaroni and cheese." At which point her father said, "You love macaroni and cheese?" I just sort of stared at him, stunned, and he said, "I love my wife. I love my kids. I don't love macaroni and cheese." And I said, "Well, I love macaroni and cheese. I used to be a smoker." One time a scruffy looking man asked me for a light. I told him I only had matches. It was very windy. He said, "That's okay, there's a trick to it. You light the match and then suck down real hard. You get a mouthful of sulfur that way, but you gotta have a trick when you're going 30 miles an hour on top of a tank." A friend of mine's grandpa was in the Navy in WWII. You would not believe the conditions in which that man is capable of lighting a match, cigarette, and smoking the whole thing. Open field, 30 miles per hour winds, torrential rains, 2 acres away from a tornado, even in whiteout snowstorms. It's insanity to witness in person. I was doing tech support over the phone for an internet company at a call center. I got a call from an elderly woman because her internet stopped working. After checking remotely that the modem was working and that there was no issues on her area, I was scheduling a visit from one of our technician when she suddenly says, "Oh, I know what happened. The cat was playing around the router yesterday." Right, you think it took a cable or something? No, he probably took away the Wi-Fi. You mean like he moved the router? No, he probably took the airwaves of the Wi-Fi. You know how cats see things we can't. He surely say the Wi-Fi signal, grabbed it and took it away. It took all my willpower to not laugh in her face and finish the call. I must have been about 10 or 11. I sat down on a bench next to an old guy to sort my shoe out. I took my shoe off and he just turns to me and says, "Are they golfing socks?" I look at him with a completely blank look on my face thinking WTF. As I looked away he just said, "There's a hole in one." At a festival and sitting around the campfire when a very intoxicated man kept saying, "I need to borrow your fireplace." He wouldn't let it go, despite being right by the fire. Turns out he needed a lighter for his cigarette and was so buzzed that he forgot what it was called. My laughter was not internal. I died laughing right in front of him. I once was canoeing with my fiance for the first time and we were having a bit of trouble at first getting a rhythm going. So we were along the edge of the water hitting the canal. This random couple was walking along the wall and said to his wife while pointing at us, "AHH canoeing, the true test of love." My fiance and I bursted into laughter for 20 minutes and then finally got our rhythm together. Was leaving Walmart and the 80-ish-year-old greeter says thanks for shopping at Dollar Tree. Good to hear that Creed Bratton's out of jail.